Hey, Facebook. I'm over here at Simmerson Building, plot number 8585 on Simon Lane, and I have as a special guest today, Mr. Leonard Nyoni, who is talking to me today from London, England. Hi, Len.
How are you, Mr. Moira? And
Very well
good
indeed.
morning to your viewers.
Thank you so much. The last time you came here, I know we did talk about this issue. It's been a couple of years now. How long has it been? I think
It's
2-3 years or something?
Yes, it's since 2023 when I last appeared at your building.
Yeah. So, Leonard, walk me through this, because I find, that old saying that you're
Right.
no kind of man if you don't have land. Land is a very contentious issue. And
Very true.
you've been sort of entangled in something that that's taken, to be honest, years to resolve, and it is still in motion.
Right.
Run us through the beginning of this issue.
Right. Thank you for this opportunity. So, Mr. Moira, I'd just like to run you through the history of the issue of the Nyoni land. So my grandmother, the late Violet Nyoni, purchased a portion of land from Mr. Van Black in the McKinney Baobab area. She purchased a portion of farmland, which was an extent of 120 hectares. And this land, she had her lawyers together with Mr. Van Black's lawyers. They carried out agreements and contracts of sale, of which she managed to pay towards the same portion of land and the supporting documents towards that. And that is how she managed to take possession of that particular portion of land. She began to live on that land, farming on that land, together with her family. That's how the family settled on that farm and are still settled on that farm till to date. Unfortunately, she was involved in a car accident before she could complete the ownership of title from Mr. Van Black. So after her demise, the children decided, which are my fathers and uncles, decided to go to Ministry of Lands at the time to try and get the issue of the title deeds resolved, of which a whole court battle ensued because the son to Mr. Van Black began to deny that contract. So what happened is now we had an issue of contracts between the two lates are now being challenged by children, and the issue was dragged on to court, and there was a whole fiasco around that. But to cut the long story short, the government then took Mr. Van Black to court because they wanted to repossess a portion of Mr. Van Black's land for government use. So they
Which
did what
government?
they called.
Which government?
That was the MMD government. That was, we're talking about history at this moment in time. So so they took Mr. Van Black to court over what they call a compulsory acquisition. A compulsory acquisition consists when a government wants to use land for public benefit, and they figured out that Mr. Van Black had vast portions of land, obviously in extent of over 1,000 hectares, of which they decided to repossess about 360 hectares from him. Now, during the repossession, the government entangled the 120 hectares which my grandmother had purchased from Mr. Van Black. So when they repossessed the 360 hectares, our 120 hectares was within the compulsory acquired land. But the funny part is we were settled on that particular portion of land. So if due diligence was done, they would have realized that there was already a family on that land doing farming activities and living there. So you cannot repossess land where people are actually living. But they repossessed a portion of that land which we were living at the time, and they compensated Mr. Van Vleck over this particular repossession. So over the years, as we were fighting with the government at the time, which was the MMD government, trying to get our 120 hectares claim, the government decided to give us a title over our portion of land. But what they did is they gave our family at the time 5 hectares titled land on a spread of 120. So meaning we had a deficit of over 115 hectares of land, which was supposed to be titled. But this deficit of land was offered to another company, which was owned by Mr. Matani, called Quick Build. So this company gets this portion of land.
Is that Rajan Matani?
Rajan Matani.
Mhm.
So this company gets this portion of land, gets it titled, yet they know that this land, if they did their due diligence, they would have known that there is a family living there and settled there. And this is where we had these disputes began as well with this new company, because they had a title, and how they got the title was obviously shocking to us, because we had been following that title from as far back as 1978 to date. So the issue continued going in and out of court. We did go to court with Mr. Matani's company, Quick Build, at the time, and they did not pitch up to court for over 2 years over the same matter. So the case ended up being dismissed, and we continued living on this land until Mr. Van Vleck returned as well, trying to reclaim the land as well. So Mr. Van Vleck decided to take us to court once again, of which we did go to court with him, and that was around the time that you and I spoke. That was in 2023. We did go to court with Mr. Van Vleck, and we stood firmly in court, and Mr. Van Vleck also decided not to start pitching up for court sessions over the trial until the judge had to.
Before you go further with that, I
Yes.
just wanted to be clear, when you went to court with Mr. Rajan Matani's company, Quick Build,
Yes.
what became of that case?
That case was dismissed because Mr. Rajan Matani's company was not pitching up to court for over 2 years. They were giving excuses and they were going back and forth until finally the judge at the time got fed up and said, "Look, you people are wasting the court's time, so we are throwing this case out." So that is how that case was dismissed.
So did that then mean that Quick Build, owned by Mr. Rajan Matani, continued operating and owning that land on title?
Correct. So they continue to operate and own that land on title, but not on the ground. So the funny part is they have the documentation of a title, but they do not have possession of the land, because the land is where we live as a family. And we've developed that land, and we've put up structures, and people are living there, and our family is there because we are quite a big family as the Nyonis. So we have built our homestead there. And funny enough, I might add on, is that if you go to Makeni today, the bus station, which is opposite our farm, is named after the late Nyoni herself. It is popularly known as Nyoni bus station because of the history that lies behind there. And if you go further into Makeni Bonaventure, there is a road there which is also named Nyoni Road, which is in obviously in honor and in recognition of what my late grandmother did. My late grandmother was not just any normal citizen. She was very entrepreneurial woman. She was really hardworking, business minded. She was one of the first truck drivers to female truck drivers to run from Dar es Salaam all the way to Zambia, providing fuel to Zambia. So she was just not any normal person that you'll just wash away her history like that. So as I get back to my line of thought, we did end up in court with Mr. Van Vleck with the time we had our chat, and this issue went into trial. And unfortunately, Mr. Van Vleck stopped appearing in court as well, which is a similar situation with all these other cases where people abandon the issue of trial because they do not want the facts to be presented to the courts. So eventually the courts dismissed the matter, and that is how the issue of Mr. Van Vleck claiming land from us was ended. When we thought the issue had come to an end, we found ourselves in another court battle where Quickbuild returned again with that title in hand, claiming that they're the owners of the land, and actually they actually hoodwinked us and came at the darkness of night and demolished part of our properties with a court order which was never given to the people on the ground. So we had an issue of people coming to demolish our structures, demolish our homes in the darkness of night, without any warning, without any heed on what was transpiring, until we had to go get a court order the following day to stop the destruction and the abuse of power towards innocent people. So we are back in court once again over the same issue of a title that we challenged so many times that we believe was fraudulently acquired. Now, as we were in the High Court, the matter was in the High Court, but it was in the High Court through written submissions, of which the courts, in their own understanding, preferred to look at the title holder and not look at the history of where where our family was establishing our rights over the particular portion of land, and of which the judge, in her own understanding, decided to give Quickbuild the opportunity to continue to hold on to that title. So we have then gone ahead and challenged this title and appealed against that judgment in the courts of appeal, and are waiting for the courts of appeal to have a look at our issue at this moment in time.
Now, you know, clearly from the MMD days, which was the 1990s,
Right.
all the way to 2025, this issue is still in motion, still in contention.
Right.
Aside from the obvious, which is you wanting your land. Okay?
Right.
What do you see the end game? What is the end game? Because it appears to me that, you know, Mr. Matani's involved, the Van Blerks or is it Van Blerk, Van Blick are involved?
Yeah.
How do you plan to overcome all of this? Because from what you're telling me, this is an unfair acquisition of a piece of land that
100%.
belongs to you.
100%. Well, I'd likely, obviously, to be honest, Mr. Mwewa, if it was not for God or for Jesus, I'm telling you that land today would have gone by now. But it's protected by the Holy Spirit. That's all I can say. Because
and
the amount
your grandmother's legacy.
And my grandmother's legacy, because as I speak right now, it's been so hard on our family. It's been mentally draining. It's been so frustrating. It's the persecution is unbelievable. What is so shocking is when you go into some of these offices, I'm talking in the past, they would see the history, they would see the story, they'll go on the ground and see that the family lives there and are just simply wanting to exercise their rights to their land. And they would never make a decision towards that. Well, my understanding is maybe because they had an interest in it as well. They colluded. I cannot, because there's no other explanation to why a very simple transaction has been dragged out to such extents. Because the contracts of agreements are there, the people who took possession of the land are there. So why is it such an issue to give them their land? You know, it's truly unsettling to think that we write contracts, we get into agreements, we get into contracts of sale to give protection to the person who's buying. So if, for example, you were to buy a piece of property from somebody today, and you went through the process of doing the contracts of sale and doing the purchase agreements and the lawyers communicating and signing and agreeing, and then God forbid something happens to you, then your children are unable to get hold of that property simply because you are no more there and the contracts are ignored. I think that is a very dangerous line as a nation that we should agree to move and disregard. Genuine contracts in place. So it's something we need to carefully look at and carefully protect, because tomorrow it will be another family, and I'm sure there are so many other people out there who do not have the voice and who do not have the kind of tenacity that we've had to fight on this long and continue to fight on. And as I might say, this is not a cheap fight. I'm sure, Mr. Mwewa, you've been to court before. You know the cost. The amount of money that is used in sustaining court matters. There's legal fees which are involved. There's so many other things behind the scenes which are involved, which are financially draining. So it has really put a strain on our family financially, where we have to be every time we are in the courts of law, we are paying lawyers, we are going to different places. And I can tell you, we've gone through over 10 lawyers in our lifetime trying to get this matter resolved. And we are reaching a point where we are now absolutely at the end of our necks with this. So the end game, really, we just say it's in God's hands. He's the one who knows best. And the only appeal that I can have is that the people who are in these administrative positions, that they look at this issue with the fairness it deserves, that they look at this issue from a very open heart, not because they have interest. They should look at it from a very neutral position, not because they've been coerced, not because they've been pushed, not because they've been lied to or have been given a fake history, but they should look at it from the factual point of view. Why would a family be situated on a portion of land for 50 years and then somebody comes with a document which they acquired in 2011 as a title to come and evict those people, to come and break their properties, to come and keep them to have sleepless nights? I do not think that is a fair and just situation. And I'm sure we understand that, land is our inheritance. And this is an inheritance which my grandmother fought very hard to leave behind for her children and her children's children. But we're here, caught up today with they say, look, justice is just. But what I can say with my experience and my understanding now through what we have gone through, that justice is just only when the right people are there, only when good men and women are there. If you have justice and the wrong people are there and bad people are there, justice is not going to be served. It's going to be an injustice. And this is what we have been facing for a very long time. We've been facing a lot of injustice, and we've gone quiet. We've been that family that has been trodden on for a very long time, and our silence has been seen to be a weakness, which is not true. It's just that we do not want to break laws. We do not want to step on people's toes. But it seems like this whole issue has come to a point where they think because we are silent, they think we are unaware of what is happening behind the scenes.
Sylvia Masewo recently said that the issue of land in Zambia is so corrupt prone, is so contentious. There's so many things going on in as far as land issues are concerned. Right. What's your response to that when you hear a government official saying that in the issue of land in this country, it's a mess?
Right. Well, my contribution towards that, I'm 100% in agreement that the land issues in this country are a mess. But who's making the mess? Who's causing the mess? Is it the administrators? Because my question is, if you and I have an agreement and we agree, you have a portion of land and you agree to sell it to me, and we go to the offices for that sale to take place, and before we know it, that portion of land is in other people's hands, then who is at fault? Who is at fault? And then the question is, every time I go to these same administrative offices, there is nobody who is bold enough to make any decision. You arrive in these offices, everybody is playing a laissez-faire kind of situation. Sometimes they even act like they do not even understand their own jobs. You go there, you ask them to do something to help you, to assist you in regards to that issue, and they seem oblivious to the issue, and you're wondering, but how are you in this office if it takes you so much to understand a very simple issue? And nobody is bold enough, to take a decision. Everybody is expecting the next person to make the decision for them. If anything, they're expecting the president to make a decision which can be made in your office. Now, how is that fair on the head of state? How is it fair that a head of state should make every single decision for everybody who is down in the offices, who is employed to help him make those decisions? How is it that we all have to wait for one person to make a simple decision which can be made from the office which understands what the issue is all about?
Absolutely.
So we start loading the system with issues which end up stuffing the system because of indecision, because of having wrong people in the wrong places. Because I believe if you cannot make a decision if you're in that office, why are you in that office in the first place?
Indeed. Last question. You said this issue now is in the Court of Appeals.
Yes.
When does your matter come up?
Our matter comes up, I'm sure it should be sometime next week. I've just forgotten the dates, but it should be sometime next week. We should be able to have feedback from the Courts of Appeal.
Leonard Nyoni, we're wishing you all the very best. I know this must be very difficult, emotionally taxing, financially taxing, but you know, we understand your fight from a legacy point of view, And we wish you all the
Correct.
best, my brother.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mwewa, and thank you to your viewers and listeners.
God bless.
God bless you too.